Alright, here we are, day 2, Pokemon Go. Let's go to the Pokemon. Yeah. On today's adventure, we will be exploring downtown. Ta-da-da. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this channel is all about entertainment, but in an educational way. Philosophy, good things like that. Right. Educational, but entertaining. Hopefully entertaining. Hopefully a little educational. But today's focus is Pokemon Go. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. A lot of mobile streaming. Good stuff. Let's see what we got here. Error. I'm in a parking garage. Too much concrete everywhere. Alright, I'll be out of this garage. Oh, okay. Thank you. Get out of the parking garage. Alright, now we're on the road. Now we're on our way. Let the journey begin. Snag a few of these guys real quick. Alright. I tried to turn on, so I tried to mess with the settings a little bit. Try to turn on, chat notifications, so hopefully if you guys post something in, I'll be able to see it now. But if not, I will respond to you guys after, or the next stream, or send you guys a DM or something if it's important. Or if you want to add me on Pokemon Go, feel free to add me, or drop your username into the comments, the chat. Chat it up. trying to make some friends, trying to get some gifts, trying to spread the good word of Pokemon Go. Of course, downtown would have a bunch of toxic Pokemon. Not surprising. Not surprising. What a throw. Excellent. Alright, how you guys doing? How's chat doing? How things going in there? You can also get Pokemon in my chat. I got that Pokemon mod in there. So feel free to explore all my features. Explore me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Easy, easy, easy. Alright, so I want to talk a little bit today about goal setting. So, everything in life, you move towards what you aim at. And if you don't have an aim, then you're not really moving towards it. You're just kind of moving towards whatever. You're moving forward, but maybe, hopefully forward, but you don't really have a direction. You need to have an aim. No matter what, technically you're aiming at something. Without a goal, though, that aim isn't controlled. You gotta have a goal to kind of, tailor that aim. Even Pokemon Go, you have research tasks, daily, weekly, monthly, as well as the special research tasks that kind of focus you in on a goal. Also, if you want to get coins, then you need to, if your goal is to get more coins, you gotta put yourself in the gyms. You gotta put yourself out there and do that. So if you have a goal, that steers your intentionality in everything. In life, as in Pokemon Go, as in life, a goal is going to be your guidance. It's going to be your aim. It's going to be your navigation. So it's important to have a goal. Now, Pokemon kind of set the goals for you, but you kind of have your own goals too. What if your goal is to catch all the shiny? Your goal could be to have max party, 100 CP party. It could be to catch them all. It's not a bad goal. That's a typical goal for Pokemon, right? Or it could be to get coins, so that way you can expand your bag, expand your stuff. Maybe you just want more junk. You don't want to pay. You want to keep it, keep Pokemon free, which I think a lot of us do. Then you need to get coins. Get coins means you need to put yourself into gyms. So with that goal in mind, that kind of steers how you act in the game, what you're going to be doing, your targets, things like that. So, goals. It's important to know what it is that you want. What's your overall purpose? What do you want to do? What are your desires? For me, Pokemon, I am trying to expand my bags. I want to have more coins so that I can have more Pokemon, have more items, things like that. That's my goal. So right now, let's see what if I can get in the gym right here. No, it was full. Oh, no. That's disappointing. Let's grab some power dust then. No, see? That's the problem. I maxed my Pokemon out already. Not good. Not good. Now I gotta go in and I need to organize my Pokemon, or I gotta spend money. I gotta spend my hard-earned coin to get more space. Wasn't really planning on doing that. I got one more. I'll do that later. I'll organize that out later. But you see why it's important to have a goal. Because I have a goal, I know what I need to do. I got my aim set, and I am locked in. Always, always, always have a goal. And a way to measure and monitor that goal. There's a pretty fundamental law that what is measured or monitored gets managed. So have some way of monitoring and keep an eye on your stats. So for me, because I'm trying to get coins, you can only get 50 a day. So my idea is to have be in enough gyms to get the 50, max out the 50. But if you want too many gyms, it's not gonna be useful, and then you burn out yourself. So you gotta spread it out. But you gotta be in enough gyms to make sure that you get your 50 for the day. So a fine balance in there. But if I'm not monitoring it, if I'm not paying attention to see how many coins I'm getting in a day, then I'm not going to improve on that. How many gyms I'm in, so that way I can get coins. I have to be, you got to monitor that. You got to keep that in there. That goes to anything. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to learn a new skill, you need to find a way to measure your progress. That way you monitor it, so you can make improvements. The thing is, if you're not monitoring something, you're not going to be able to improve on it. You might see some improvement, but the thing is, improvement requires adjustments. You need to readjust your aim sometimes. You need to readjust how much you're doing to see how much progress you're going to make. So without monitoring something, without keeping an eye on it, you can't tell how well you're doing. So obviously, you need 200 coins to expand your Pokemon and to expand your bag. So, Pokemon storage and your bag. So, obviously, at 50 coins a day, it being a max, that takes at least 4 days for me to achieve my goal. So, if I'm not on top of getting 50 coins a day, it's going to take longer. It's going to drag out how long it takes me to be able to expand my bag and expand my Pokemon. 50 Pokemon, if you're playing a lot and you're trying to catch, if you're trying to, have a decent sized party and have duplicates and things like that, and if you're not on top of managing your Pokemon, 50 Pokemon can go pretty fast. So adding 50 slots for Pokemon, it can go pretty fast. 4 days is not a long time to fill up 50 spots, to be completely honest. So you gotta stay on top of it. You gotta stay on top of your goals. What gets monitored gets managed. So if you're not monitoring it, if you're not monitoring your progress, you're not gonna have the same results as if you were. If you monitor your stuff, if you are constantly seeing it, it's going to improve. So whatever aspect you want to improve in your life, whatever your aim is, whatever your goal is, you need to keep an eye on it. You need to constantly be checking your progress, daily updates, see how it's going, because that's going to be the way to improve. Because you may have to make slight adjustments. If your plan is in the gym, weight training, if your plan is cardio, or you want to have a faster mile, then those are all things that you need to measure. There's ways to measure it. There's apps. There's free apps, Nike Plus and Fitbit, things like that. Digital scales that have their own apps, some of that. There's a lot of things to document and to monitor progress, and just to have some kind of monitoring in place, so that way you can manage it. You can make adjustments. You can be like, okay, I'm not seeing the results I want to see, so I need a different input. Something needs to change. I need to run more. I need to eat less calories. I need to take more steps. I need to relieve more stress. And if your goal is financial, maybe your goal is to stream, to make some more money, then you need to manage that. What is your AdSense like? What are your views like? What's your follower count like? How well is your stream been doing? Those are all things that you need to take into account, and to monitor what those effects are having on your overall progress. But the moral of the story is, if you don't have goals, you don't have an aim. And if you don't have an aim, then you're just floundering around. as in game, as in life, then you're just floundering around. If that's what your plan is in Pokemon, or in whatever game you're playing, the game of life, the game of Pokemon, if you have no intention, if you just plan on floundering around, there's nothing technically wrong with that. If that's your plan, if that's your goal, then so be it. But if you want to get the best results, you want to have the best game, you want to have the best gameplay, you want to have the best life, you need to have an aim. You gotta have an aim. Whatever that aim is, you can progress too. It doesn't have to be the same. You can start with small steps. Start slow, and they'll compound up. I guarantee that. If you start slow, the progress will come. But you have to start somewhere. You gotta start aiming somewhere. So, get out there and catch those legendaries. Honestly, I need a lot of work with legendary. I just started back in, and I have no group here, so I have no party. I have nobody to raid with. So I have some remote passes. I can remote raid, whatever, things like that. That's something I would be interested in as well. I have goals. I got a lot of stuff that I want to accomplish here, and the main goal, catch them all. That's the goal, right? No, but my side goal is coins. I want to be rich. I want to be the richest coin Pokemon goer. No, I'm kidding. But I want it so I can have more space. I have more items. I have more Pokemon. That's what I'm looking for. I want to expand my bags. And to do that, I need more coins. I'm trying to improve my quality of life here in Pokemon Go, as we all are, right? No, but that's my goal, to maximize my coins. Honestly, both in game and out of the game, but maximizing the coins is what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to be in gyms, trying to catch Pokemon, to have decent Pokemon to stash in the gyms. I have stronger ones, but as you know, there's tons of gyms all over the place. Break it down the gym, go in there, smash and grab, get yourself in. The high turnover gyms aren't the greatest sometimes, especially if someone's just sitting there camping on it. But you can get into some gyms that are isolated, which are good to stash in, but they're terrible for raids, for legendary raids, because then no one's around it. But not the point. I'm rambling a bit here on the philosophy of the Go challenge, but those are good to stash away a Pokemon, get that 8 hours or so in a gym. I think it's 10 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. I forgot I did the math at one point. It's been a while. Once it's in there, max coins, 50 coins, boom, and you're golden. The more gyms you're in, the more likely you'll nab your 50 coins when your Pokemon finally gets smash and grabbed. But yeah, that's my rant for today. Goals. What gets monitored gets managed. So find an aim. There's definitely something that you can be aiming for. Pokemon Go or in life, find an aim. It's very important. It is huge to have an aim. To play this life, to play this game aimless is not the best strategy. Find an aim. There's no wrong aim, truthfully, in Pokemon Go. I like the coins. Coins. Some people want power, which is a bad thing. Some people just want the shiny. Some people just want the pretty Pokemon. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But you need to have a goal. You need to have an aim, and a goal, and a target. Start small. Don't be afraid. There's nothing too small. If your goal is just to get 50 coins, to max out at 50 coins, that's a good goal. I mean, that's honestly my goal is daily. Just max out those 50 coins. But I have to be in gyms that are attacked frequently enough, as well as get to stay long enough, but not too long. And yeah, to stay long enough. Yeah, see, if you stay too long, then the day passes and you don't get your coins, and that's no fun either. There's a balance. You need to be in a gym that's gonna have some turnover, but the turnover can't be too fast. Every 10 minutes is a coin. So how many is that? 50 coins is 500 minutes. Yeah, it's like 8 hours. A little bit more than 8 hours. Yeah. So 8 hours in the gym, that's not too bad. Unfortunately, I've been in the gym for too long now. Maybe your goal is to defeat Team Rocket, to eliminate them from the game. If I was a little bit closer. Oh, I walk over there. Man. That time. Alright, how we doing? How's everyone going today? How's everyone's day been? Alright. So hopefully inspired you to find a name. Pick a name. Take some aim, take some action. Do something today. Small steps. If you're playing Pokemon Go today, think about what it is. What is your overall goal? What do you want to do? And set your goal and take some aim and make some progress on that goal today. Maybe you want the coins, so go out there and put yourself in the gym. Find a gym, put yourself in there. Maybe you want to... Maybe you have a Pokemon that you plan on evolving or making stronger. You need those extra candies. Put them as your buddy and go for a walk. Get out there and collect what you need to collect. To have multiple goals and to be moving towards the same direction without it's not just okay, I'm trying for one goal. You don't want counter goals that contradict each other that you can't achieve both at the same time, or you can only achieve one or the other. Then you don't want to work on both of those at the same time. That's not an ideal. But if they're progressing both in the same direction, then that's great. That's something good. So if they're not, or if they're mutually exclusive too, if they're not linked, if they don't hurt each other, and you can make some progress towards them at the same time, that's okay too. But it's one thing you don't want to fall into the trap of is getting too many goals and not knowing which goal to focus on or what your goal is. So that's also a thing too. So having too many goals can really be detrimental to your aim. If you're trying to juggle too many balls, then you're not really, you're not putting all your effort into one goal. It's okay to have multiple goals, but you should really only focus in on one goal at a time. Like if your goal is to in Pokemon to get more candy, then walking is a good idea. And of course, you can catch Pokemon as you go on the way, and you can add gyms and things like that. But if the Pokemon you're trying to level up is a legendary or something that you can't catch, then you might get distracted on your way to trying to achieve your goal of getting more candy. So having too many goals can be a distraction and can honestly disrupt your aim. The point is to have an aim, and the point is to have a goal. Or the goal helps you create an aim. But what you don't want to do is create too many goals that you still no longer have an aim. If you're just still scattershot, then that's almost as bad as not having a goal. Now, I'm not saying that the thing is, having too many goals is still better than having no goal. But the progress you'll see and the aim, the strategic advantage is not the same as focusing in on one goal. If you have one goal, one focus in, one thing, that's going to be much better than a scattershot of multiple goals. So, keep that in mind. Set your goal. The point of a goal is to set your aim. And if you have too many goals, too many conflicting goals that confounds and confuses your aim, then it's counterproductive. You've actually created a worse off scenario than having just one goal. So try not to have too many goals that are not intertwined. If you have progressing goals, this goal, step 1 leads to step 2, step 3, that's fine. Sub goals, like if your overall goal, like say my main goal is to get the coins. So I want to get 50 coins a day. So to have 50 coins a day, it's probably a good idea to be in more gyms. So if I set my goal of, put myself into 10 gyms, then those two line up for my overall goal, my overall purpose. So that's important, that's useful, that helps out. But if your goal is to get the coins, but then you're also just trying to catch more Pokemon or raid more rockets or things like that, then you might not be able to reach as many gyms as you would normally if you only focus on getting to the gyms. So it's important to have a goal, but remember, the goal is to create your aim. If your goals are too complicated and too complex, that it makes it where you can no longer does not have a singular focus aim. If it scattershots you, then the goal is not performed its purpose. The purpose is to have an aim. You gotta have an aim. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole goal, is to have an aim. That's the idea. That's the plan. That is what we're trying to achieve here. So, without further ado, I'll let you guys go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the Pokemon philosophy today. Hope you gathered out some of that. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.